What's up, Guiding Bolt fans? Jessica here, and today we're diving into the depths of hell. That is, the first 4 planes of the 9 hells in Dungeons & Dragons. We'll start our exploration with some of the original lore about these planes. So, while some of the minor baddies may have shifted over time, much of the information about the planes themselves are still accurate to the modern day 9 hells. So, grab your cameras, buckle up, because it's about to be a bumpy whirlwind ride. Up first is Avernus, the uppermost plane of the 9 hells. It is ruled by the chromatic dragon Tiamat. It is a desolate plain consisting of rocky crags and hills, stunted poisonous vegetation, and bare rock. At regular intervals, the darkness is lit up by fireballs of unknown origin. Many caves and warrens dot the landscape, serving as homes for devils. The various dukes of hell have no wish to deal with intruders on their own ground, and thus, as the uppermost plane, Avernus is where intruders to the 9 hells are hopefully dealt with. This plane also serves as the marshalling area and training ground for infernal armies. Roaming across the plane are 50 lesser unique devils who are embittered and frustrated with their station. They torment the lemures and spine devils of this plane and viciously attack all intruders. Tiamat, the mother of all evil dragonkind, spends much of her time in her lair, the great caverns known as the Azorul, or the Great Dragon Spawn Pits. Tiamat is guarded at all times by her bodyguards and consorts, 5 adult male dragons of white, black, green, blue, and red coloration. When not in her lair, Tiamat may occasionally be found roaming Avernus, or even sometimes can be found traveling outside the 9 realms, generally on more secretive affairs, and perhaps even giving birth to a litter on the primal material plane. The treasure prized most highly by Tiamat is magic, as she is always seeking more powerful offensive and defensive spells which she can study, experiment with, and modify for her own use. Although Tiamat will battle with individual devils without hesitation, she will never knowingly attack an archdevil or lieutenant to an archdevil. She rules her spawn by force and fear, but her will is enforced on Avernus by 40 companies of Abishai under the command of Malthus, 29 similar companies led by Amustius, and 3 companies of Erinyes under the command of the pit fiend Gope. Moving on to our next stop, the second plane of the 9 hells is Dis. Dis is largely flat, with an occasional bare hill or crag rising smoothly from the large plain. The land is ravaged by fierce winds that never cease blowing. The sky on Dis is a thick, smoky-hued green that is occasionally lit up by high lightning flickers and faint thunder. At the center of the plain is the city of Dis, which is ruled over by the archdevil Dispater. All the water on the plain is cold, black, and poisoned. The stagnant waters give off odoriferous vapors, sometimes visible as smoky wisps or plumes. The city of Dis, also known as the Iron City, stands on an island in the center of a large lake where all the rivers and streams that flow across the plain meet. The city is built of unrusting iron and is a dismal place of towers, garbage-choked streets, and iron-barred cells full of chains and torture implements. Within the city, you may find zombies, rock grubs, imps, spine devils, black pudding, barb devils, hellcats, and rakshasa. The island on which the city of Dis is built rises sharply in elevation toward the center. At the very center, looming over the rest of the city, resides the infernal grand palace of Dispater. The palace is a great stone tower adorned with iron, carved bone, and stone. It has a terraced approach and is off-limits to those without a reason for being there. Notable players within the city include Dispater's consort Lilith, known as the Princess of Hell, the pit fiend Balsavan, the Prime Minister Bifant, the Provost and Bell, the commander of the Iron Guard. Below the palace lie many dark caverns that serve as the pits of Dis, where prisoners live in unmanacled savagery, fighting for the edible garbage that falls down from the shafts up above. Between the city and rolling plains lie the vast estates held in fief by Dispater's vassals. Some of these vassals include Duke Bretu, who's the strongest of them, Merodach, and the pit fiend Phyrcus. Erinyes, who are native to the plain, roam the land and ever seek to increase their power on Dis through the favor of Dispater, who rewards them for their unswerving loyalty. If they come across intruders, they will attack immediately, aside from a lone messenger who will head straight to the city of Dis to inform Dispater or another of Dispater's commanders. The intruder will not be outright slain, as the Erinyes fear the wrath of destroying something Dispater might like to have, since, like all archdevils, he is always alert for beings, powers, or items that can help him maintain or improve his own position. Moving to the third plane of the nine hells, we have Mineros. If the ceaseless winds of Dis aren't quite your thing, then perhaps you'll enjoy the never-ending rain mixed with hail that continually pelts Mineros. Much of this plain is covered in a great dreary swamp comprised of stinking, rotting earth, fetid water, carrion, and the jagged bones of that carrion. The air is ever murky here, and shrouded in fog and disease runs rampant. Toward the center of Mineros, the land rises into a volcanic badlands of ash-covered hills and slime-filled rifts. At the center of these badlands lies a marshy bowl in which the palace of Mineros' ruler, Mammon, sits. As the Lord of Avernus, nothing of value exists for long on this plain before being destroyed or claimed by Mammon. Mammon's great black stone fortress is the only building on Mineros. His fortress rests upon giant pillars in the marshy bowl that are ever sinking very slowly into the bottomless ooze of the marsh. The only other structures on Mineros are the cells where prisoners are held. The cells are great shallow pits out in the marshes that contain 2 to 3 feet of water and a large stone. Attached to the cell's stone are chains and manacles of iron or brass. The cells are overlooked by barbed devils who capture intruders and bring them back to the cells until they die in the cold, dirty water or are taken away for interrogation and torture. Other key players on Mineros include Folklore, Mammon's seneschal, the pit fiend Zimamar, who commands the palace guard, and various vassals who rule the volcanic ridges. The chief vassal is Baal, who is always trying to supplant Folklore and Mammon. Other vassals include Carcinorlas and Melkon. Well, Mineros sure is a delightful place. Shall we press our luck and move on? Up next is Flagothos, the fourth plane of the nine hells, which is ruled by Belial. Phlegethos is one of the more active planes, as its inhabitants constantly roam the land. It also has the most chaotic physical environment of the nine hells. Phlegethos is covered with volcanoes, hills of ash, spouting fires, pits of smoking dung, and burning rivers of lava. The ground is always hot, and ground tremors are common. Be on the lookout, because violent eruptions and the sudden opening of a fissure in the earth is not unusual. The sky is ever dark and a starless void, but the plain of Phlegethos is lit by all of the various flames that are always leaping about. Outside of Avernus, Phlegethos is probably the most visited plane of the nine hells. It is well known for its fabled firefalls by alchemists and mages skilled in the creation of magic items. The stronghold of Belial, known as Abriamak, the Mount of Leaping Flames, is the hollowed-out shell of a huge dead volcano. Abriamak consists of several tiers of chambers that open into the central shaft of the volcano like balconies. Each is connected by stairs, shafts, and great spiraling paths. Both Belial's consort, Naom, and his ambassador, Camo, reside in the stronghold. Other staff include spine devils, bearded devils, and hellhounds. The vast smoking plains that surround the volcanic heart of the plain are the domain of Belial's vassals, who include Balin, Bathim, and Gaziel. And that does it for the first 4 planes of the 9 hells. How many words did I probably mispronounce? Go ahead and throw a number down below in the comments to let me know. Interested in booking your next vacation yet? No? Well, perhaps you'll find the perfect spot to rent an Airbnb when we explore the final 5 planes in the next lore video on the 9 hells of D&D. Until then, mind your fireballs, stinking swamps, and fetid prison cells. We'll see you guys back here next week.